Yes, last class that introduction discussed. Last class introduction. What is software? What is system software? What is application software? What is OS? Okay, what is front end, back end? Okay, next language packages. Next language, low level, high level languages. See that software languages. Yes, computer understandable, user understandable. Okay, see computer understandable language. 1 second. Yes, yes, it depends on generation of computers. First generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation. Yes, present generation is processor based. Fourth generation, future AI based. Yes, processor based. Present generation, understandable language, binary code. Okay, so called as low level language. Software language are two categories: low level language, high level languages. Low level language, it's a system understandable language. Yes, it is called as machine language. Zero response format. High level language like English language. Very easy to understand. It's user understandable language. Okay. Yes, C language is first to high level language. So these concepts discussed. Last class, these things were discussed. Okay. See every high level language program. For example, here C program. Yes, Turbo C, Win. Yes, this is some C program, for example. C program looking like English language. This English language called as high level language. This has to convert into system understandable language. Binary format. High level language to binary format. Similarly, suppose JavaScript. Java program. Suppose here some Java program. Just don't have Java program. 1 second. Some Java program. Yes, Java program. See, this is some Java program. Okay. Yeah, this has to convert into binary format. Yeah, this is some Java program. Okay, this program high level language. High level language. This one has to convert into binary code. Yes, we will convert into binary code. High level language to binary code. Okay. Yes. High level language to binary code. High level language to binary code. Binary code. Binary code like zero response format. Yes, we will convert. Yes, either interpreter. Yes, either interpreter or compiler. Either interpreter or compiler Either interpreter or compiler. Either interpreter or compiler converts from high level language, means that English language, high level language to this binary format. High level language to binary code. Okay, interpreter or compiler. Yes, either interpreter or compiler. Interpreter or compiler. Interpreter or compiler converts from high level language to binary code. That's it. Yes, what is interpreter and what is compiler? That is interpreter and compiler. Let us say about interpreter and compiler here. Interpreter, yes, versus compiler. What is interpreter? What is compiler? Let us see about interpreter and compiler. Yes. Let me open a Word document for explanation purpose. Yes. Yes, interpreter and compiler. What's the difference here? Yes, how interpreter working and how compiler is working. For interpreter, yes, I'm taking some Python script. Python script is a interpreter based language. I'm taking some Python script. Yes, Python, some test.py file, some Python script. Yes. So D drive, test folder here. I'm writing some Python script. Yes, CMD command prompt. You see Python script. For Python scripts, we have the PyCharm. In real-time projects, we'll use this PyCharm. Using this ID, you can develop the Python scripting. Yes, in our projects, we are using PyCharm community. So for better understanding purpose, just I'm using simple notepad, very small program. Small program, why PyCharm is not necessary. Simply, we can go with the notepad. Yes, if it is notepad, then easy to understand. Command prompt. Command prompt. Yes, opening command prompt. From this, go to this location. D drive test folder. D drive test folder. Yes, command prompt. How to open CMD. CMD. It opens command prompt. Yes, search for Windows, search for CMD. It opens command prompt. Yes, now where? Yes, we should go to where? D drive test folder. D drive test folder. D drive. D drive. D colon. That will take to D drive. That will take to D drive. Okay. Yes, here they say test folder. Directory folder both are same. Yes, in character interface called as directory. Character interface. This is character interface. Okay. Yes, this is GA. Graphical interface is a GA. Yes, in character interface this is directory. Now change to test. CD test. Changing to test. Change to CLS. Test. Yes, now some Python script. Yes, notepad. Test.py. Yes, do you want to create new file? Yes. Now I'm writing some script here. A equal to 10. Suppose A equal to 10. Yes. B equal to 20. Yes. The requirement is addition, subtraction, and multiplication of two numbers. Very simple program. Very simple program. Addition, subtraction, and multiplication of two numbers. C equal to A plus B. Yes, adding. Yes, printf. Yes, print. Yes, addition. Okay, so addition is equal to S plus A. Right? Addition equal to A. Sorry, addition equal to C. Displaying result variable. C equal to A plus B. C equal to A plus B. Yes. C equal to A minus B. A minus B. Yes. Displaying C. Yes. Next A into B. Yes. Multiplication. Yes. Addition. Next subtraction. Addition, subtraction. Next multiplication. Very simple script. Just take a very simple script for explanation purpose. Yes, multiplication is equal to save, set. Sorry, that is print. Yes, okay. Yes, now run that script here. See addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Okay. Yes. Addition, multiplication, subtraction. Yes. So the Python script. Yes. How the script is working? Yes. How Python script is working here? See how Python script is working. This is Python script. Okay. How the script? Yes. Interpreter. Python is a interpreter based language. How that interpreter based language working? Yes. A equal 10, B equal 20, C equal to A plus B. Addition. Okay. Next subtraction. Next multiplication. So this is script. Yes, interpreter working on this script here. How interpreter working on this script? Let us see. Topic is about interpreter. So interpreter, right? So interpreter. Yes, after finishing interpreter and compiler topic here, Java depends on what? Is it interpreter based or compiler based? That also we'll discuss. Okay. Yeah, this is every software engineer must have this knowledge. What is interpreter? What is compiler? This minimum knowledge. Otherwise, you can't understand Java. So before going to the Java features, yes, you must have this knowledge. Interpreter versus compiler. So what is interpreter? How interpreter is working? Let us see. How that interpreter is working? Yes, interpreter. So this is Python script. Some Python script. Python script. In Python script, first statement, like a equal to 10, yes, b equal to 20, c equal to a plus b. Next, print c value addition. Yes, next, c equal to a minus b. Yes, print subtraction value here. Yes, next, c equal to a into b. Okay, yes, print that multiplication value like this. There are some statements in Python script or any interpreter based language. Any interpreter based language, there are some statements. Any interpreter based language, there are some statements. Any interpreter based language, there are some statements. Yes, how interpreter working on all these statements? Let us see how interpreter working on all these statements. Okay, how interpreter working on all these statements. Yes, let us see about this. See interpreter. See interpreter checking for the first statements. Suppose if it is correct, yes, immediately converts into binary codes. It converts into binary codes. Yeah, good, good. Kiran, good. Yes, it converts in binary code line by line. Interpreter is line by line. Converting to binary codes. Yes, given to processor. Given to processor. Processor. Yes, what is processor? Just it's one component in our system. Processor to run the program. To run the processor is responsible to run the program. Program execution with the processor. Processor taking that request and generating output. Generating outputs. Yes, machine means processor here. Processor understandable language. 0s 1s format. It's a processor understandable language. Now what happens here? So interpreter checking for the first line, first statement. If it is correct, simply converts into binary code. Then binary code given to processor, processor generating outputs. Yes. See, next statement may be right or wrong. Interpreter never think about next coming statements. See guys, so next statement may be right or wrong. Interpreter never think about next coming statements. Interpreter never think about next coming statements. Interpreter never think about next coming statements. Next coming statements never, yes, it never think about next coming statement. Maybe right or wrong. Suppose if the statement is correct, converts into binary code, that binary code given to processor generating output. That means first line over checking completed, it's correct and giving output. First line completed. First line completed. After finishing first line, then checking for second line. Second line. Yes. Suppose second line also correct. Same. Yes, sir. Second line also converts in same binary codes. 0s 1s formats. Convert into binary codes. That binary code given to processor. Processor. Okay. Yes, generating outputs. That's it. So first line correct, executed. Second line correct, then execution here. So it's a line variant. First line checking correct, then giving output. Second line correct, generating output here. See, next coming statement may be right or wrong. It won't check for next one here. If statement is correct, immediately generating outputs. Next correct, immediately generating outputs. Suppose something wrong here. Something wrong. Suppose the statement something wrong. If the statement something wrong, stops. Any error comes, interpreter stops. Any error comes, interpreter stops. Any error comes, interpreter stops. Simply stopping. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. This girl is struggling. Yes. Akila. Select this computer audio while joining. Okay. Better use yes computer or laptop. Okay. Yes. Don't use mobile. Yes. Mobile audio issue. Mobile using yes with mobile audio issue. Getting some audio issue. With mobile chance of audio issue here. Yes. Better to use computer. Yes, select computer audio while joining. Select computer audio while joining. Okay, fine. I think now fine. Now you are, I think, audible. Okay, fine. Yes, now here how it's working here. So this is the interpreter, right? Yes, any error comes, simply stops. Any error comes, stops. Okay. Suppose if it is compiler, what happens here? Checking all the statements, but interpreter checking only one statement. If the statement is correct, immediately converts and giving output. Next statement correct, converts into binary code, giving output. Next statement something wrong, simply stops. Simply stops. Let me show that. Notepad. Yes. Suppose A equal to B equal to C equal to A plus B. Suppose something wrong here. In print, something wrong. Suppose here double quotation missing. Okay. Suppose here bracket missing. Bracket missing. Yeah, there are three mistakes in this. Three mistakes. Save and exit. No running here. The program running directly. Suppose if it is C program, if it is compiler first checking for all errors. If no errors, running program. But this is program directly running. See, seventh line error stopped. Yes, this is not showing all the errors, only one error. Seventh line number 7 error. Stopped here. Stopped. So it's not checking for next lines. Any error comes, simply stops. Any error comes, simply stops. Any error comes, simply stops here. Okay, now let us correct that mistake here. That comma missing, right? Comma missing. Save and run again here. Save and submit again. Yes. Now 12th line. So that means it's showing only one error at a time here. Only one. Only one. It won't check for all the statements here. Checking line by line. First line checking. If correct, next line. If correct, next line. Suppose something wrong, stops. Line by line. Okay. Now this is mistake. Yes. Correct that. Now submit again here. Submit again. Yes. Again error. The 20th line means only one error. So yet yes, this one shows only one error here. So only one. Okay. There's only one. Yes, only one here. Only one error. Any error comes, simply stops. Okay. Yes. Any error comes, simply stops here. Any error stopping simply. Okay. See that. Now execute it. Addition, subtraction, multiplication. That's it here. Okay. So here how it's working. Interpreter working. If it is correct, then execution. Next correct execution. Something wrong, simply stops. Any error comes, simply stops. Yes. Suppose compiler. If it is compiler, how it's working? Let us say about compiler. Compiler. Yes, how compiler is working? Yes, about compiler. Yes, about compiler. About compiler. For the compiler, yes, I'm saying I'm taking C program. Just I'm taking C program. C program. Just I'm taking C program. Support test.c program. Test.c. C program. Yes, how it's working. Yes, if it is compiler, how it's working. Compiler checking for the first statement. So first statement is correct. Even correct, it won't convert into binary code. No, it won't convert. Even correct, it won't convert into binary code. Checking for next one. Even next one also correct, it won't convert. Even the statement is correct, immediately it won't convert here. Okay. Checking for the first line. If it is correct, then checking for second line. If it is correct, checking for next line. Suppose something wrong. Error yet, third line. Error rate some line. Yes, after checking for next line, suppose next line also correct. Then checking for next line like this, top to bottom. Compiler checks whole program from top to bottom. Compiler checking whole program from top to bottom. Okay. Yes. Any error? Yes. Errors and shows all the errors. Yes. This line error. Okay. So that all the errors. Compiler checks whole program from top to bottom. Compiler checks whole programs, all the lines from top to bottom and shows all the errors. Compiler shows all the errors in the program. Interpreter is only one error. Interpreter is only one error. But compiler is all errors. Yes, it checks whole program from top to bottom. Compiler checks whole program from top to bottom and shows all the errors. But interpreter is only one error. Any error comes, it won't move to forward here. Next line, it won't check, it is stopping there only. Yes, let me show the compiler also. Compiler. Yes, let us take C language compiler. C. Yes, C compiler. C. Now compiling. Yes, success, no error, no error, no running. Yes, first number 10, second number 20. See, addition 30, subtraction minus 10, multiplication 200. Same program, this also. Program to add, subtract and multiply two numbers. ABC, see printf. So printf, enter first number, second number, yes, equal to a plus. So this is compiler. This is compiler. Yes, compile, no error, success. Yes, if no error, then running here. Yes, 10, yes, 20 like this. Okay. Suppose something errors here. For example, some mistakes. Suppose semicolon missing here. Suppose here bracket missing. Suppose here this is here double quotation missing. Suppose here comma missing. Okay. Yes. No. Python is the interpreter based language. Python is the interpreter based language. We can't use compiler. Python is interpreter based language. See here bracket missing. Okay. Yes. Suppose here printf. Here. So double quotation missing. Okay. Next here. So subtraction. Comma missing here. There are some missing statements. Suppose printf. This bracket missing. Okay. Suppose here semicolon missing. Now let us right. Save. You have to saved. After saving, now Alt C for compilation. Just it's compiling only compilation. Compile errors. How many? There are 14 errors in this. Errors. Press any key. See that errors. See 14th line error. Yes, at the bottom you can see 14th line error. Next 18th line error. So next 21st line error. Next 25th line error. Yes, next 29th line error. 31st line error. 33 line error. 38. Like this, all the errors from top to bottom. Yes, compiler shows all the errors from top to bottom. Compiler shows all the errors from top to bottom. Compiler shows all the errors from top to bottom. Okay. Compiler shows all the errors from top to bottom. Yes, you have to correct all the errors. No correction of errors. Compiler shows all the errors from top to bottom. Okay. Now let us correct these errors. Semicolon placing here. Yes, here bracket missing. Yes, printf. Here double quotation missing here. Yes, here scanf. Comma missing here. Yes, next. Yes, here in this printf here double quotation missing here. Yes, next. Yes, here comma missing. Yes, we'll see later. Okay, yes, now yes, again file saved, again saved here. Yes, overwriting, compile. See that still 5 more errors. Okay, 5 more errors. Okay, here bracket missing. Okay, yes, next. Here comma missing. Printf here comma missing. Yes, compile. Still 3 more errors. Yes, here bracket missing. Next here semicolon missing. Here semicolon missing. Compile. Success. Okay. Yes, one success. If no errors, what happens? Let us see. If no errors, what happens? Let us see here. Yes, compilation. Yes, compile. Success. Yes, if no errors, what happens here? Let us see. Now compile here. How it's working? We are checking for first statement. Yes, first statement, last statement, top to bottom. Compiler checks whole program from top to bottom. Compiler checks whole program from top to bottom and shows all the errors. Now we should correct the errors. Correction of all the errors. Next correction. Yes, after correction, no errors. What happens here? Suppose this is correct. Yes, everything is fine. If everything is fine, this is correct. I guess all are fine. Yes, everything is fine. No errors. Everything is fine. If everything is fine, then what happens here? If everything is fine, then compiler opens another file. It opens another file. If everything is fine, another file, second file, one more file. It opens one more file. It opens one more file. This is test.c. Test.c program. It's a source code. Yes. Now this whole program top to bottom. Yes. All the line checking. No errors. If no errors, all the statements converts into binary format and write to another file like zeros ones formats. Yes, all the lines converts into binary code, zeros ones formats. All the statements converts into binary formats. So all these statements converts into binary codes and write to another file. Okay, this another file takes care. Another file. Yes, all these binary formats, this whole code from top to bottom, all this code from top to bottom, write to another file. This file is called as exe file. Exe means executable file. Yes, exe file. It generates exe file. Okay, if no errors, generating one exe file. Just generating exe file. After generating exe file, that exe file given to processor. Now processor taking that exe file. Processor taking that exe file. Processor taking exe file and executing top to bottom at a time. Executing all the statements at a time and generating output at a time. Yes, this is compiler working. Yes, compiler and interpreter. What's the difference you observed here? Yes, interpreter is line by line. First line converted, then executed. Next line converted, executed. But what is compiler? Whole program at a time. Whole program at a time, top to bottom. Compiler checks the whole program from top to bottom. No errors, generating exe file. Yes, this second file. Yes. Yes, in case of interpreter, don't have second file. See, interpreter, what happens here? CLS, here, see, test.py, see Python, that Python script, test.py. Yes, directly executing the script here. Directly script executing, no other file. Yes, if it is compiler based language, what happens? Yes, let me show that practically. See, math.cpp file. It says CPP and C language same. CPP means C++. Now Turbo C. Yes, math.cpp. One second, backend. Let us go to backend. Turbo C backend. C drive. PC. Yes, bin. Yes, math.cpp. See math. Yes. One second, these names. See this. This is math.cpp file here. Math.cpp. This is our code. Backend also you can see all that code here. Okay, I think once again it's not saved. Just let us save it. Saved. Yes, overwritten. Saved. That math.cpp. Yeah, it's saved. Saved. Okay, fine. Of this. No. Let us compile. Alt C. Compile, no error, success. Now run it. When you run it, what happens here? When you run it here, see math.cpp. When you run it here, what happens? Now running. Yes, for this other file generated. So what is this file? 85 application means exe file. Yes, 14 Feb, 8:05 p.m. So just now that application is exe file. See properties. See that .exe file. .exe file generated. Okay, right? Yes. But so first it generated exe file and execute. Now exe file executing. That's it. This is working of compiler. Working of compiler is like this. So compiler checks whole program from top to bottom. Yes, if no errors, generating one exe file. That exe file executes. Yeah, this is main difference. Interpreter and compiler main difference is exe file. Interpreter and compiler main difference exe file. Compiler generates exe file. Interpreter never generates exe file. Interpreter no exe file. Okay, yes, let us see the differences here. Let us compare these two here. For understanding purpose, yes, point face comparison. For better understanding, yes, see interpreter. Yes, interpreter. Next interpreter. One second. Yes, interpreter. Next compiler. Interpreter and compiler. So what's the difference between these two? Interpreter and compiler. Interpreter versus compiler. Let us see the comparison. Interpreter and compiler. One second. Yes. Interpreter. See first one. Yes, interpreter checks the codes. It checks the codes line by line. It checks the code line by line. Compiler. Yes, it checks. Yes. It checks the code. It checks the codes from top to bottom. from top to bottom, all the lines from top to bottom. It checks the code. It checks the code from top to bottom. That is first difference. Interpreter is only one line checking at a time here. One line checking, if it is correct, immediately execution. But compile is not like this. First of all, checking for all the lines. All the lines. If no error, then the creation of exe file, then generating output. Okay, interpreter. Yes, output. When come to output here, it generates output. It generates output line by line. It generates output line by line. So output also line by line here. But compiler, yes, output at a time output. This is at a time output. At a time. So at a time output here. This is at a time output. At a time, because exe file, that exe file executing, yes, at a time giving output here. So at a time output here. At a time output. Yes, next here. Suppose any error comes, interpreter stopping. That means interpreter shows only one error. Interpreter shows only one error. Interpreter shows only one error. Compiler, yes, it shows all the errors from top to bottom. All the errors from top to bottom. It shows all the errors. Yes, next. Main difference. Main difference between interpreter and compiler. Exe file. Exe file is a main difference. Okay. See, interpreter. Yes, it does not generate exe file. It does not generate exe file. Just compile it generates exe file. It generates exe file. It generates exe file. Okay. See, interpreter, it does not generate exe file, but compiler generates exe file. Interpreter does not generate exe file. Yes, compiler generates exe file. See, interpreter based language, what happens here? Interpreter based language, directly your source code executes. test.py, this is called a source code. Okay. Yeah, this is called a source code. This is source code. Python source code. This is called a source code. This is called a source code. Okay. So here interpreter based language, directly source code executes here. Source code, yes, it executes. Interpreter, it executes source code directly. It executes source code directly. It executes source code directly. Yes, when come to when come to compiler based language, exe file executes. It generates exe file and executes exe file. Yes, it executes exe file. Yes, it executes exe file. It executes exe file. That's it. Okay. See, interpreter does no exe file for interpreter yet, but compiler generating exe file, that exe file executes. Okay. See, interpreter based language, they are scripting language. All scripting languages are interpreter based languages. So these are scripting languages. They are scripting languages. Compiler based, they are programming language. They are programming languages. Okay, scripting language and programming language. Scripting language means that can be modified anytime. Scripting can be modified anytime. Scripting means that can be modified anytime. But programming, you can't modify. Suppose really if you want to modify programming here, there are a lot of steps. In programming, you have to follow a lot of steps. But in scripting, only one step, open and modify. But programming, there are different steps. Yeah, that also we'll discuss. Wait. Yes. Next here, interpreter based language examples. Best example is Python. Interpreter based language example Python. HTML also interpreter based language. Okay. See, Python language has its own interpreter. Python interpreter is available. See, this is Python interpreter. Interpreting that source code then executing. This is Python interpreter. Okay, next HTML. For HTML, browser is an interpreter. Hypertext markup language. Yes, it's a browser understandable language. Browser is an interpreter. Yeah, this is a browser, right? Okay, this code is running in, yes, HTML code. This is behind of this HTML code. See, source, you paste source. This is HTML code. All this HTML code. This is HTML code. Source code. HTML code. Okay, that is HTML code. Okay, so HTML, browser understandable language. Next in Linux is a shell scripting. This is interpreter based language. Next, PHP scripting, interpreter-based language. Perl scripting, interpreter-based language. JavaScript also interpreter-based language. JavaScript is different. Java is different. JavaScript is not a Java. JavaScript is a browser understandable language. Java is a JVM understandable language. JavaScript is different. Java is different. Yes, going forward, we'll be discussing. Going forward, you'll be understanding the difference. Okay. Yes, programming language examples. Examples, C language. C is a compiler based. C++ compiler based. Next, .NET. .NET is a compiler based. Okay, fine. C, interpreter. Yes, this interpreter based language don't have exe file. Interpreter based language don't have exe file. Don't have exe file. Okay, yes, compiler. Yes, compulsory exe file. It generates exe file and executes exe file. Here everything is exe file. Yes, everything is an exe. Here exe only here, exe file. Okay, everything is an exe file. Yes, what is exactly exe file we'll discuss. What is exe file? I will explain now. Okay. Yes. So this is interpreter and compiler differences. Interpreter is line by line. Yes, compiler top to bottom all the lines. Interpreter line by line, only one line checking at a time, only one line. But compiler is not like the top to bottom, all the lines. Next, interpreter output also line by line, but compiler output at a time. So this output at a time. Okay, interpreter only one error, but compiler all the errors from top to bottom. All the errors. Main difference exe file. Main difference. Yes, interpreter based language don't have exe file. Interpreter based language don't have exe file. Yes, compiler based everything is in exe file. See, interpreter based language. Yes, Python scripting, no exe file. Suppose HTML. Yes, suppose HTML. Yes, advanced Java in this HTML. See, HTML file this is. HTML. See, .html. HTML code this is. This is HTML code. HTML. See this HTML code. Yeah, this code, yes, it is source code. So this code direct open, directly executing that code, the login form. Direct, right? Okay, directly executing. Okay, no exe file concept for that. No exe file. Don't have any exe file. Right? Fine. So this is difference between interpreter and compiler. Interpreter examples, compiler examples. Yes, here doubt here. See, many guys, yes, having some doubt. Yes, this Yamendra is talking about always interpreter, compiler, and different language, but he's not talking about Java. That is actually our topic, right? Okay, actually our topic that is. Okay, yes, Java, is it compiler based or interpreter based? Yes, he's not explaining about Java, he's explaining different kind of things. Maybe somebody thinking like this, you guys don't worry. Till now, whatever discussed is a prerequisite to understand Java. See, I can start directly Java, but that is not correct way. Okay, my way of explanation, everything is like a spoon feeding, very clearly you can understand it. Okay, step by step, I'll go step by step. Now let us start Java. Yes, Java. Yes. Now about Java, now question is here, Java. Yes, question is Java. Java, yes, is it compiler based or interpreter based? Or interpreter, there is a question. Yes, it's an interview question. Yes, Java, is it compiler based or interpreter based? So this is a question here. 1 second. Okay. Fine. Yes, anyone can you answer this? Yes, of course. I'll explain. Guys, don't worry. I'll explain very clearly. Just I'm asking your idea. Java, is it compiler based or interpreter based? Just I'm asking your idea. Yes, Java. Yes, is it compiler based or interpreter based? Yes. Let me check this output. Yes, your response. Java is a compiler based language. Ravi Ranjan. Java is a compiler based. Harshit, compiler. Yes, Kiran Kumar, interpreter based. Smita, both. Okay, next. Subrat, interpreter based. Jaydeep, yes, both. Okay, yeah. Okay, Pooja, both. Yeah, let me explain. I'll explain, you decide it. I'll explain about Java. Yes, Sirisha, it's a compiler based. Okay, good. Yes, thank you for your response. Thank you for response. Yeah, let me explain. You decide. After I will explain about Java, then you decide it. See, Java, except Java, in other languages, what happens? In other languages, what happens? First is source code. Source code. See, this is called as source code. This is your C program. This is source code. Source code. That English language. Maybe Python scripting or C language or Java. That English language called as source code. It's a source code. That source code simply converts into binary code. Just the converts into binary formats. Source code converts into binary code. Okay, just now discussed, right? That source code. See, these are source code. Test.c converts into binary formats. Okay. Yes, interpreter are same. Source code convert into binary formats. Yes, interpreter is convert into binary format. This binary format code it won't write to another file. No exe file. Directly statement executes. Converts executes. But it won't write to second file. No exe file. It won't generate second file. But compiler generating second file, that exe file, right? That exe file. Okay. Source code convert into binary format. Binary code given to processor. So processor generating output here. That's it. This is what is happening in other language except Java. Other language. Now in Java, what happens? Let us see. Java. What happens here? Java code, first source code converts into bytecode in Java. So one more, some intermediate code introduced here, bytecode. That bytecode converts into binary codes. Bytecode converts into binary codes. That binary code given to processor. Yes, processor generating output. Simply here. In Java, what happens here? Source code to bytecode to binary code, and then processor. Yes, given to processor. Processor taking that binary code, then executing, generating output. Yes, in Java, some intermediate code was introduced here. Bytecode was introduced. So why bytecode was introduced here? Yes, why bytecode? Reason to make the Java as independent platform. Bytecode reason to make the Java as independent platform. Okay. Yeah, bytecode. Yeah, bytecode given to interpret JVM as a part of. Yes, I'll explain. Just wait. I'm coming to same topic. Source code convert into bytecode. Bytecode convert into binary code. That binary code given to processor generating output. Yes, who will convert source code to bytecode? That is question here. Who will convert source code to bytecode? For this, Java compiler. Yes, Java compiler. Yes, Harshit, just a minute. Wait, I'll explain. Yes, source code to bytecode by the Java compiler. Now bytecode to binary codes. Bytecode to binary codes by the Java interpreter. Java interpreter. Okay. Yes. See here. Yes, Java program. First of all, see Java compiler checks for all the errors. Java compiler checking for all the errors. If no errors, then generates bytecode file. Bytecode file means the dot class file. Okay. Yes, Java in Java here. Java compiler checks for all the errors. If no errors, then it generates. Bytecode file means the dot class file. Generating one dot class file. Yes, generating dot class file. generating dot as well. Let me show that Java also. Yes, let us see Java here. Okay, yes, tell deleted. Now see Java. Yes, Notepad. Yes, test.t caps. Java. Do you want to create new file? Yes. Now let us write one sample program. Yes, public. Yes, public class. Sorry, public class test class. Public class test. Yes, starting ending. Class starting ending. Yes, this main method. Public static void main. Yes, string. Yes, caps square brackets string array of args. Yes, starting main method. Yes, in this system dot. Yes, out dot println. Yes, hello world. Hello world. Hello world. Hello world. Close main method. See class starting ending. Main starting ending. See about this program later we'll discuss. Our topic is not about this program. Topic is not about this program. Some sample program I am developing to explain about Java compiler or interpreter based. Okay, save and exit. Now dir test.java file. Now let us compare it. Java C test.java. Yes. Java compiler checking for all the errors from top to bottom. Compiler checking for all the errors. Yes, compiled, no error. Yes, what's happened here? Tested dot class file generated. Tested dot class file generated. Now what happens here? Yes. So first test.java. Test.java, it's a source code. This is source. This is source code. This is source code, right? Test.java is a source code. Here the source code given to Java C Java compiler, right? Yes, test.java. The source code taken by Java compiler. Checking for errors. If no errors, generating what? Bytecode. So tested dot class file generation. Set tested dot class. Tested dot class. Yes, this is a bytecode. It's a bytecode. Bytecode file generated. Bytecode file. Yes, we got one bytecode file. Yes, what is exactly bytecode we'll discuss next. In actual Java programming, I'll tell you. Yes, how that bytecode, yes, that bytecode format I'll explain. Okay, yes. So you can test.java converted into yes, tested dot class means source code to bytecode. So this step, source code to bytecode, right? Source code to bytecode was Java compiler. Now this bytecode, Java test enter key. Yes, executed. Now which one executed here? Yes, interpreter executed. Interpreter taken tested dot class file, line by line interpreting, then executing. Line by line converting, executing. Line by line converting, then executing. This is the interpreter. Interpreter. Okay. Yes, see this. This bytecode dot class file is a bytecode. That bytecode file, this file is given to JVM. Java means is JVM. Yes, as a part of JVM, inside the JVM, there is a Java interpreter. That interpreter taking tested dot class file. Interpreter taking tested dot class file. JVM, actually JVM test is this is JVM. JVM contains one interpreter. JVM means is not a yes a small program. JVM it's engine. That engine contains many programs. In that one is interpreter. Instead of JVM, this is interpreter. So this is interpreter. Interpreter taking dot class file, then running just given output. Okay, now tested dot class file. The tested dot class file. Tested dot class file is given to Java interpreter. Java interpreter. Java interpreter. Tested dot class file given to Java interpreter. The Java interpreter converts bytecode to binary code. Now this is line by line binary code. Converting into binary code. Then binary code given to processor. Binary code given to processor file is generating output. Output, that's it here. So what is happening here? So what is happening? Yes, in Java errors checking by the compiler, error checking by the compiler, error checking by the compiler. Okay, next program execution. Finally, program execution by the yes execution by the interpreter. by the interpreter, right? Execution by the interpreter. Okay. Yes, interpreter. Interpreter. Yes. So here errors checking by the compiler. Yes, program execution by the interpreter. Now tell me, Java depends on what? Is it compiler based, interpreter based, or both? Now as per this explanation, tell me guys, come to some conclusion. Java, is it compiler based or interpreter based? Is it compiler based or interpreter based? Or both? Compiler based, interpreter based, or both? Yes, what's happening guys? Not understanding. Yes, errors checking by the compiler, but execution by the interpreter. See, in case of Python, directly interpreter executes. Python direct interpreter executes. In case of C language, compiler compiling generating exe file, that exe file executes. Yes, C language only compile involving. Yes, Python only interpreter involving. But in Java, what is happening? Both are involving. Both are involving here. First compile involving. Next, yes, interpreter. See here. So first, see what are steps in this steps. So first compilation Java C compile involving. Here compile involving. Okay, after getting dot plus for now interpreter involving. Two things are involving here. So Java depends on Java. Yes, Java. Yes, depends. Java depends on both the compiler as well interpreter both, depends on both. Java depends on both the compiler as well interpreter. Java depends on both the compiler as well interpreter. See, from this explanation, yes, you try to answer one question. From this explanation, yes, based on your understanding here, yes, some question for you guys. Now question for you guys. Yes, can we create exe file is Java? See, don't give the answer with your old knowledge, with previous knowledge. Now today explanation, based on today's explanation. Yes, don't use your old, yes, previous knowledge means your college knowledge. Your college trainers are different. Yet they are only theory, they know about theory, they don't have about practical explanations. Okay, see here now, can we create exe file in Java? Yes, based on my explanation. Tell me, based on today's explanation. Or next, same question. Yes, is there any exe file concept in Java? Yes, based on, tell me answer based on my explanation here. Based on today's explanation. Not your previous knowledge. Don't use your previous knowledge. Okay. Yes, previous knowledge. Previous trainers may be given wrong guidance. Yes, based on today's explanation, can we create exe file in Java? One second. Interpreter and compiler difference. See, interpreter based language don't have exe file. Compiler based everything is exe file. See, here the program, yes, any language program, execution by the interpreter. Program execution by the interpreter. That case no exe file, right? Okay. Any language program execution by the interpreter, no exe file. Right? Okay. Yes, no exe file. Any language program execution by the interpreter, no exe file. Don't have exe file. Interpreter based language don't have exe file. Program execution by the interpreter. Program runtime. Program execution by the interpreter, no exe file. Not Java. Who will execute program? Is it compiler or interpreter? Java program execution by which one? Is it compiler or interpreter? Java program execution by which one? Is it compiler or interpreter? What's happened? Just explain here. See, error checking by the compiler. Error checking by the compiler. Program execution by the interpreter. So Java program execution by the interpreter. Since Java program execution by the interpreter, yes. So is there any exe file concept in Java? Java program execution by the interpreter. See here. DR. First writing your program. Yes, notepad. See Java program steps. See the steps in writing Java program. So notepad test.java is a source code, right? This is source code. .java source code, right? After source code, next what? Compilation. So dot plus. Okay, Java C test.java. So dot class file generated. DR, the dot class file generated. Dot class file generated. After that, then execution Java test executed by the interpreter. The tested dot class file executed by the interpreter. What's happening here? Dot Java is there, dot class is there. Yes. Have we observed any dot exe file in this process? In this process, have we observed any exe file? Dot exe file extension? Yes. Have we observed any dot exe file? No. So there is no concept of exe file in Java. Yes, no concept of exe file in Java. Okay, see any language program execution by the interpreter, no exe file. Okay, yes, since Java program executing by the interpreter, executing by the interpreter. Yes, interpreter. Yes, no exe file. Yes, no exe. Yes, don't have exe file concept here. Don't have. Yes, this very very important question. Don't have exe file concept. Don't have exe file. Okay, there is no concept of exe files in Java. There is no concept. There is no concept of exe files. Exe files in Java. Okay. Yes, there is no concept of exe file in Java. There is no concept of exe file in concept. There is no concept of exe file in Java. See in Java everything is a dot class file. Everything is a dot class file. Yes, always executing dot class file. Okay, Java always executing dot class file. Java everything is a all are dot class files. Everything is a dot class file. Okay, see dot class file is not an exe file. Exe file is dot class is for differential. Yes, exe file dot class for differences I'll explain very clearly. Exe file dot class for differences I'll explain very clearly. I'll explain. So dot class file is not an exe file. Dot class file is not an exe file. So what is exe file? See, exe file is a binary code file. Exe file is a binary code file. Exe file is a binary code file. Yes, it is a system understandable language. System understandable language. System understandable language. Yes, exe file is a binary code file. Exe file is a binary code. It's a system understandable language. Yes, what is dot class file? Yes, dot class file, yes, is a bytecode file. Dot class file is a bytecode file. Yes, it is a JVM understandable language. It's a JVM understandable language. JVM understandable language. Okay. Yes, exe file is a binary code file. It's a system understandable language. System is processor. Okay, exe file is different. Dot class file is different. Dot class contains bytecode. Exe file contains binary code. Exe is a binary code. Dot class is a bytecode. Bytecode is different. Binary code is different. Okay. Yes. No exe file concept in Java. Suppose if any exe file concept is that is OS dependent. Exe file concept is that is OS dependent. But Java is OS independent. Java is an independent platform. Reason in Java there is no exe file concept. Anywhere exe file concept is that is OS dependent. OS dependent. Exe file is OS dependent. Yes, how that OS dependent we'll discuss. Wait. About exe file, about dot class file, I'll explain very clearly. So this is about interpreter and compiler differences. Interpreter and compiler differences here. In Java, both are working. Compiler as well, interpreter. In Java, both are working. Compiler as well, interpreter. Okay, in Java, there is no concept of exe files. No exe files. Okay, we can't create exe file in Java. We can't create exe file in Java. Java is independent of platform. Suppose if you're able to create exe, that is platform dependent. Java is independent of platform. Yes, to make the independent of platform, that exe concept removed from Java. Yet to make the Java is independent of platform, exe concept completely eliminated from Java. Okay, why exe concept is eliminated? Reason to make the Java is independent of platform. Okay, the topic we'll discuss. Wait, we'll discuss. No. See, today topic. Difference between compiler and interpreter. Interpreter, compiler, all that differences. So what have we discussed? All that 9 differences. Okay, line by line execution, at a time execution here. Yes, result line by line. See, yes, it will not generate exe file. Yes, no errors. Then it generates exe file. Okay, it executes source code. It executes exe file. They are scripting language. They are programming language. Examples. Yes, interpreter based language don't have exe file. Yes, every program converts in exe file only here. Okay, see, Java depends on both the compiler as well interpreter. Java depends on both here. Both the compiler as well interpreter. Okay, in Java, errors checking by the compiler. Java errors checking by the compiler. If no errors, then Java compiler generates dot class file. Okay, dot class file is a bytecode file. Bytecode file. Java runtime by the interpreter. Java runtime by the interpreter. See, source code to a source code given to Java C compiler. Java compiler generating bytecode file. That bytecode file dot class file given to Java interpreter generating binary codes. That's it here. Source code to bytecode to binary code. Then processor finally generating outputs. To bytecode by the compiler. Byte to binary code by the interpreter. Java depends on both the compiler as well interpreter. Okay, a Java runtime is an interpreter based. See, any language runtime is an interpreter based, no exe file. Any language runtime is interpreter based. That means program execution by the interpreter. If program execution by the interpreter, no exe file concept. Yes, since Java is a Java runtime is an interpreter based. Okay, is an interpreter based here. No exe file concept in Java. No exe file concept in Java. See, can we create exe file in Java? Answer no. There is no concept of exe files in Java. No concept of exe files. In Java, everything is dot class file. See, dot class file is not an exe file. Dot class file is not an exe file here. Yes, exe file is a binary code file and it's a processor understandable language. A dot class file is a bytecode file. It's a JVM understandable language. Yes, that's all. That's all about Java introduction. Yes, Java compiler as well interpreter based. Yes, now how Java made us independent of platform. Now you can understand very clearly. Yes, to understand these Java features, to understand these Java features here. Yes, yesterday's last class. Yes, last class topic and today topic is a prerequisite. Previous class we discussed about ways discussed. Today about compiler interpreter discussed. So these are the prerequisites. Last 2 classes, today class and previous class. These 2 classes are prerequisites. Prerequisite to understand independent platform. See Java features. See Java features I can explain directly. Simply definitions I can explain. After explaining definitions, I can go to Java program. No, that is not my way here. That is not my way. Yes, including internals. When you're running Java program, how OS is behaving. When you're running exe file, how that OS is behaving. That you should know. That is tomorrow topic. So how Java is independent of platform. Yeah, this is tomorrow topic. Independent of platform portability. Tomorrow we'll be discussing about this. Okay. See exe file dot class for differences. Exe file dot class for differences. Yes, tomorrow we'll discuss. So what is exactly exe file? What is dot class file? Okay, when exe file created, what happens? Okay, when exe file create, what happens here? Yes, exe file on Windows OS, exe file Linux OS, both will discuss. When exe file created on the Windows OS, what happens? On exe file and Linux OS, what happens? Both are explained practically. Yes, Linux in my system, Linux also available. I'm using Linux OS. For audio purpose, I'm using Linux OS. Yes, on Linux OS also I'll show. Okay, exe file with Windows OS, exe file with Linux OS. That concepts we'll discuss very clearly. Yes, no doubt. Tomorrow topic is very interesting topic. Very important and very interesting. You guys see, you may be joining or not into my class, that is secondary. You may be joining or not, that is secondary here, but don't miss tomorrow class. Tomorrow is very, very important topic. See, tomorrow class, no trainer will explain you like that. Tomorrow topic. Tomorrow topic is very, very important. No trainer will explain you. Even in Google also, no website will give that much of information. Tomorrow class, very, very important. You see that. You see, and compare the difference between me and others. My experience is different. Nowhere comparison. Okay, my experience nowhere comparison with other trainers and even websites in the world. My experience is more than the Google. Even Google also will not give that much of information. I'll give that much of information here. More, yes, my experience is more than the industry. We'll see tomorrow. Okay, the tomorrow class. See, you may be joining or not, that is secondary. But don't miss tomorrow class. Don't miss tomorrow class. Very, very important class here. Yeah, that's all for today. Yes, tomorrow complete class. Tomorrow complete class is independent of platform and portability. These two topics. Independent of platform portability. Yes, about exe file. Okay. Yes. How exe file. Yes, how that exe file is creating. And all that shall explain. Okay. Yes. No. Yes, Ravi Ranjan, only this week, next week not necessary. Only next 2 or 3 classes only here. Next link changes. Once we move to GoToMeeting, if it is GoToMeeting, not necessary. Everyday registration is not necessary. Yes, next within 3 days we'll be moving to GoToMeeting. Once we move to GoToMeeting, that case need not register every day. Only go to training. Only next 2 classes you have to register. I think maybe Wednesday or Thursday link will be changing. Wednesday, Thursday link will be changing. Okay. Yes. Yeah, that's all for today. That's all. Yes. Today I can extend, but the thing is exe file dot class file the differences independent of platform. I can't finish today. I can't. Yes, it will take minimum 1 hour. So I can't break at the middle. So we'll continue tomorrow. We'll continue tomorrow. See, generally my class are 1.5 hour class. So minimum that is yes 1 hour and 30 minutes. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Sometimes depends on topic too. Depends on topic here. Yes, 1 hour and 40 minutes also taking. Suppose maybe topic extending, that case 1 hour and 40 minutes. Okay. Suppose situation we can't break the topic, that case 1 hour and 15 minutes will take it. So today next topic it will take 1 hour. So at the middle I can't break. So that's the reason taking only 1 hour and 15 minutes. So 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 40 minutes. Some cases even 1 hour and 40 minutes also class happens here. But minimum 1 hour and 15 minutes, no doubt. Yeah, so that's all. Yes, 1 second, you guys, just a minute. Guys, just a minute. Just a minute. See, you guys, yes, your batch. Yes, already, yes. See your batch. Group created. Your batch group created, already communication is going on. It's 7:30 p.m. I think 17 participants submitted their details. So this is here. See, last 3 sessions shared. See this day 1, the text notepad. Yes, what you explain that notepads. Day 1, yes, that's Recording also shared in the drive. Yeah, not drive, sorry, in group. Second recording and third recording shared. Okay. Yes, for some guys, drive access also given. For some guys, yes, some guys means like, yes, who paid fees? I think, yes, out of this, yes, out of this 19, 20 members, I think more than 10 members have paid fees. So for them, already drive access. Yeah, Harshit, drive access given. If not, yes, if not, yes, today I'll do it. Today night, yes, 11 p.m. I'll do it. Okay, I'll check with online team. I'll check with online team. I'll share that. Okay. Yes, drive access. I'm giving drive access from the drive. Yes, you can watch all the videos. Your drive already created. Yeah, this is your drive. Yes, I think. Yes, 7:30 p.m. Yes, last 3 videos uploaded. After finishing class, today video also I'll upload it here. Yes, 1 second. Yeah, my WhatsApp number. Anyone still pending, share your details. This is my WhatsApp number. I'll add to group. Still anyone pending, share your name and your course, WhatsApp course you are attending. Next, WhatsApp time you are attending. Next, your Gmail ID. Share these details. I'll wait for 1 minute. Take this number. Yes, you can share after the class or night or tomorrow morning, anytime. Anytime you can share it. At your convenient time, you can share it. I'll add to that group. Okay. See, not only group communication, minute to minute communication with every student. Yes. Java students. Something, this girl is asking something. Okay. Yeah, this also asking something. Yes. See that minute to minute communication. Yes, how to download JD. Some questions. Yes, I'll respond after finishing class. Yeah, this today's communication. See this today's communication. Today's all that communication. Yes. Yesterday communication with all Java students communication issues. Yes, even I'm interacting personally also. They are interacting personally also. Okay. Next group as well, group communication. Okay. Yes. Next, one more thing here. Yes, main groups are there. This is for lifetime support. Yes, after even finishing your batch, I'll not leave you. Lifetime support for jobs information. I'll share. Yes, we need Java trainers for L&T requirements. Recently shared that information. L&T company. Yes, next. Yes, my company requirements. Previously, last month, my company requirements like this. Sharing. Lifetime support. Okay. Sharing all the jobs information. Suppose in my company any requirement is there, I'll share your resumes. Yes, 13 members our students selected recently. 13 members selected our students. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is yes, WhatsApp number. Take it. This is my WhatsApp number. Please take it and share your details. I'll add to group. Yes, I'll wait for 1 minute. Yeah, yeah, that's all for today. Yes, that's all for today. So let us find up session. Tomorrow also same link. Same link. Any information you need, just you can ping me in WhatsApp. Just you ping me in WhatsApp. Yes, I'll give you any information you want. Okay. Yes, here you need not to talk to any online team and all this. Single point of contact here. There is no multiple contacts. You don't worry. Only single point of contact. Only. Yes, I'm the responsible. I'm the responsible. Okay. Yeah. So thank you guys. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.